අප මීළඟට ඊටම ආදරයෙන් නැරයුම් කරනවා ශ්‍රී ලංකා විවෘත විශ්වවිද්‍යාලයේ නීති අධ්‍යනාංශයේ ජ්‍යෙෂ්ඨ කතිකාචාර්ය ජනහා සෙල්වරාස් මෙනුයට මෙම සමුළුව ආමන්ත්‍රණය කරන ලෙස.
ස්වාමී වහන්සේගේ අවසරයි. One and all, a very good morning. Today, the members of academic community have gathered here to extend our solidarity to the NPP, National People's Power. At this moment, we have to record why are we with NPP. In other words, why we should extend our solidarity to NPP. Why I'm doing this is to reflect the voice of each of us. This is not my testimony, this is the testimonial of each of us. I hope this voice will reach our fellow members of academic community, also fellow members of this society. Think about the moment, where are we now? We have been subjects of the main two-stream political parties in the post-independence of this country. But what we gain out of that? We are putting our labor for this country, not even for the development, but for the mere survival. What are we getting out of that? We are the people without any quality of life. We are thinking of our right to life today. Do we have freedom of expression? Can we go and raise our voice for any particular matter today in this country? No. Even if you are at the academic freedom, if you are enjoying the academic freedom, you are not allowed to do that in this country. We have witnessed that in the very past. So what are we? We are the modern slaves of this country without any quality of life. So we, the modern slaves of country today, have gathered here to say that we are with NPP this time. And why? That is not because the NPP is the one party which didn't rule us in the past. Not that. It is more than that, more meaningful than that. To say with, I'll start. Just open your eyes and think how the world works, the developed states and the developing states. In developed states, they don't go and vote just by seeing the face of the politicians and what they offer for us in prior to the election. They are giving this and that. Oh, I have the connection with them because he is my community, he is my label, oh, he is my background. Not that. The politicians go to people to convince them with their policies and the work plan. They have to debate with the people. They have to convince them. And the people only vote for them if they are convinced of what the policies and the work plan that are put forward by that political parties. Think, do we have that political culture in Sri Lanka? We have to build that. Why I'm saying this is now I have the faith in our people. I saw that for the last 1 year, people are very sound of their freedom, their rights, and the independence of this country. We are thinking that we have to do something for this country. That's what we have not run away from this country. Still we are here, we are suffering, we all are suffering. But what's the difference? It's the level of suffering that is different. But we all are suffering, each of us. You can earn 2,100 or you can earn just 2,000 rupees per day. But you all have a story of suffering in this country. So we have to think, we have to change. With what we have got now, with the changes, please think of opting a party by seeing their policies and the work plan. Now NPP, if you go and see, they have policies, they have work plan for every sector that they have to work when they come to power in this country. Be it economy, education, start with this. For every layer they have the policies. Now I'm not going to dig every policy of NPP, but I'm touching economy and going to mention about the education policy. Think the economy. The many parties try to rule us, the mainstream two-party in the Sri Lanka. They try to put the economy in terms of so-called economic development. They didn't think that the economic development should come in a sustainable way. You can't just go and attract the foreign investors, just forgetting about the environment and human rights and the nation's production of this country. You have to balance everything. To balance everything, the politicians and the party should have the adequate potential. So that's the story that we have to think of. Now, NPP's economic policy promises us that we are going to think of an economy which is going to work on the nation's production, also sustainable investment, and the inclusion of environment and human rights. So I'm very happy about it because personally I know how the economy and the investment work as a person who also study, read, research on those work. So let's move to the education, from where we all work, on what we all have gathered here. Now, the NPP's education policy is very beautiful for me, and I think this should be read by the fellow academic community who are yet to be convinced to stand for NPP. Now, the education policy promises two things. One, the primary education. The second is the access to education for every people in this country. Now, why I'm saying the primary education, if you have read Sigmund Freud, you know the childhood is very important. A child is going to be the man or woman in future. If you are not going to protect the childhood, you are not going to get the man with empathy and advocacy. And that's the sad truth of this country, why we don't have people to think about others and raise voice for others. So, think that we should have a primary education to not to put the burden on the child on traveling or compete for a reputed school or anything. So that guarantee is given by NPP, that is visible in the NPP's education policy. To go to the second one, that is the access to education for all of us. Now, the Constitution of Sri Lanka, through its Article 12, says the equality is must, and we should work for that. If you ask from any member of this forum, they would say that yes, the government tried to work with equal access in the previous governments by giving the state education to all. But that's not meaningful. Now, as Albert Einstein say, if you can remember, you can't ask an elephant to climb the tree, nor the fish to climb the tree. So education is something like that. So the education should be a path to enable for all the people to attain what they are going to be in future. So NPP's education policy promises the vocational studies for the students who are not going to opt out the conventional higher education. So with this all guarantee, I hope the economy and the education is what the future for us, that we are set to be with them. As a lecturer and fellow citizen of this country, I have seen that how we worked for education. And in 2012, we demanded 12 GDP for education. But what have we got today? The children are not even getting 3 times meal per day. Some students are dropping out from the school. Please go and see the trend, what's happening. Girl children are getting married in the early age, even before attaining the minimum age of marriage. Now, this is going to put us in dark in future. We are responsible for our past. If you are accepting it, we have to be responsible for the future as well. So it's time to decide. Now, why NPP? To lift at this junction is, I see a party which is going to come in the stage of Sri Lanka's current situation should accept the responsibilities and accept the past. And I see that with NPP. The new phase of NPP promises us that they are ready to accept their responsibility and look forward. As a person working with NPP or having the attachment with NPP, I see they are collaborative, progressive, and they also have room for each of us by our different identities. So I think fellow members of the academic community and this society should think of using your weapon. Yes, it's not the kings of ancient society. They had a weapon to fight for the country. We also do have. That is your right to vote. So don't use or exhaust your right to vote, but just going through others' decision or any thing that comes from your past or your identity, the connection with the identity. Think of it. Now we are trapped in this society. If you have read the Animal Farm of George Orwell, we are trapped in a society. It's the illusion of order here in the society. So we have to break that. To break that, use your weapon, which is right to vote. When you use that weapon, just think of two things, economy and the education, because we are in a crisis. It's not a crisis for the economy, it's the crisis for the right to life. If you want to live in this country, if you want to have a quality life, think of it and stand with NPP. And we are doing it this time, and it is your responsibility. You should also join the cause, and I am recording that here. Thank you very much.
You're watching the Lifetraveler channel.